Hello YouTubers and fellow Whovians, and welcome to another Doctor Who Big Finish review. It's now time to take a look at Dark Eyes 2. It's been such an age since I reviewed Dark Eyes 1, I think it's nearly been a year, and I've been meaning to get around to review this, but I've just not had the time to sit down and listen to this and likewise sit down and review this. So without further ado, we're not going to make you wait any longer for this review. We're just going to go straight into the review. First off, we're going to take a look at the box. This was released in 2014, so we still have that 50th anniversary Doctor Who logo by there. On the main cover, it looks like we're in some sort of chamber. Kind of looks a bit like a Dalek spaceship. Might not be a Dalek spaceship, but kind of does look like one. Looks like it's sort of some sort of chamber. I don't know what it's meant to be. We've got Molly O'Sullivan at the far left. At the far right, we got Livchenko, who becomes a full-time companion of the 8th Doctor in this. She previously appeared in a previous Big Finish audio box set known as Unit Dominion, which starred the 7th Doctor, Sylvester McCoy. And in the middle we have Paul McGann, the 8th Doctor, in that fantastic Dark Eyes costume. Really love that costume. And we have Alex McQueen as the Master. And right in the middle we have a 1960s Dalek going away from an explosion. At the bottom it says Dark Eyes 2 and it gives you details on the cast. So this stars Paul McGann, Ruth Bradley, Nicola Walker, Natalie Burt and Alex McQueen, along with Nicholas Briggs as the voice of the Daleks. At the top right hand corner we have the Big Finish logo, and at the top here it just says Doctor Who Dark Eyes 2. At the sides we've got a nice image of the 8th Doctor along with Molly O'Sullivan and the Master, and it just says what stories are included in this: The Traitor, The White Room, Time's Orizon, Eyes of the Master, and this is release number 2 in the Dark Eyes saga. And at the back we've got a little bit of a sort of prologue to what this box set is all about. Some nice little description there. And again, you can see a little bit of the spaceship in the background as seen on the front cover. And here are all the stories inside. And there at the bottom you just got all your legal crap. So without further ado, we're going to have a look inside now and take a look at each individual story. First off, we'll take a look at the cover of The Traitor, and the side of these covers are more or less the same as what you saw in Dark Eyes 1, except this time you've got a revised Doctor Who logo, and it seems that this bit, the Vortex bit, is a little bit different as well. As Dark Eyes 1 was more of a purpley colour, now they've gone for more the lighter blue. What you see in the earlier 8th Doctor adventures with Lucy Miller. But in the main cover we have this chamber, so I believe this may be actually one of the main settings of this particular story, which takes place on the front cover of the actual box set. You've got a Dalek and you've got the 8th Doctor with this helmet thing on him. I won't give much away, you'll have to listen to it, but once you listen to it it'll make complete sense. Of course this has Nicholas Briggs as the Daleks, and this was actually written by Nicholas Briggs, as was the whole entirety of Dark Eyes 1. Here is just a rundown of what happens in the story. Here's the disc. The disc has changed since Dark Eyes 1. Here it just advertises Dark Eyes 1 as well, which I highly recommend. Of course, I would have to recommend that in order for you to listen to this box set, because, well, it'd be a bit stupid really if you went straight into Dark Eyes 2 rather than Dark Eyes 1. There's some nice concept art from the cover of the story. I really like that. It looks absolutely amazing. So we got the 8th Doctor and Livchenko there along with two 1960s Daleks. I've got a little bit of an Evil of the Daleks vibe here. Right, let's hit the ground running and let me tell you what I think of the Traitor. I think it's an absolutely amazing way to start off this box set. We don't have Molly O'Sullivan appear in this story. She doesn't appear until the second story. I'll talk more about that when I move on to that. But for this, it's just the Doctor and his new companion, Livchenko, who is the title character, the Traitor. Livchenko is working with the Daleks, and yes, the Daleks do return in this. The Daleks played a huge part in the first box set. They've made their return in this one, along with the Dalek Time Controller as well. Now, the Dalek Time Controller played a huge role in Dark Eyes 1, particularly in the last story, X and the Daleks, and if you followed everything that happened in that story, this is a very nice way to reintroduce us to the adventures of the Eighth Doctor, and further on down the line with Molly O'Sullivan. Overall, I think this is a great way to start the box set. I think it's absolutely fantastic. The Daleks are great. It's a great one. Not entirely perfect by any means. I don't think it's as good as an intro as The Great War was for the first box set, but it certainly got me hooked. And yeah, once again, Paul McGann as the Eighth Doctor, he just totally nails the role by now. And Nicola Walker as Livchenko, I think she does quite a good job, although, to be honest with you, she's not entirely my favourite companion. If you just listen to this, like, out of the two right now, I prefer Molly O'Sullivan, because I think that in this box set, Molly O'Sullivan is more of a likeable character, especially for those who didn't particularly like her in Dark Eyes 1, but I didn't mind her, so hoo-ha. Overall, solid, good start, well worth checking out. Here is A White Room by Alan Barnes. I think this cover is absolutely amazing. One of my favourite covers that Big Finish has ever done, to be honest. You've got the Eighth Doctor and Molly O'Sullivan, who returns in this story after being absent in The Traitor. We've got the Viren there, we've got a skull, and you've got all this stuff with all these numbers and stuff. Because this is very time travel, space anomaly heavy in this, so you have to really be awake to listen to this story, if I'm completely honest with you. It's very hard sometimes to listen to audio, so I would say you need to be on full alert when you listen to this story straight away. Here they are advertising the first two series of the Eighth Doctor Adventures. Oh, and here's a disc. And here's the concept art for this story. Now, a lot are going to disagree with me. I found this story quite a bit hard to follow. It was one of those ones that I had to listen to over and over again to fully grasp what was going on. I don't think it's a bad story at all, though, but I definitely do think that The White Room is the weakest story out of this box set, because especially for newcomers, especially the younger audiences, they would find this quite a bit confusing. But one thing I like is it goes away from all the action that takes place in The Traitor. It's not exactly what I expected to follow on from The Traitor, because The Traitor had a really stonking good cliffhanger, and I thought, oh, what's going to happen next? But The White Room were taken away from that. But as I say, further on in this box set, a lot more is explained to why that is. Molly O'Sullivan returned in this story. There's no Livchenko, so she's absent in this. She comes back in the following story, Time's Orizon. The interaction between the Eighth Doctor and Molly, it's much better in this box set, I feel. We have the return of the Virens as well. Now, the Virens previously appeared in a Sixth Doctor audio, so it's nice of Big Finish to sort of expand on their material and include them in this box set, as it's one of their own villains. So overall, yeah, The White Room, it's an alright story, but I don't think it's the best. In fact, I think it's the weakest of the second Dark Eyes box set. I really do. Next we have Time's Orizon. On the cover we have Livchenka, the Eighth Doctor and the zombie, and looks like they're on a spaceship. I say it looks like they are on a spaceship. There is the disc, and there's the advertisement for Eighth Doctor Adventures Series 3 and Series 4, which preceded the first Dark Eyes box set. And here we have the concept art in the leaflet for this story. I'm going to be honest, this is the weakest one that we've got out of this box set. Time's Orizon is a very good story. A lot more is explained as to why the previous two stories hardly have any connection whatsoever to anything really. But this, it sort of ties it together, and I think it does a very good job. It picks up pace again, because I felt that in the previous story, The White Room, I felt that the whole atmosphere, it was sort of lost, and I thought for the first time in this entire saga we sort of brought out of everything that was going on, even though we did have the return of Molly O'Sullivan. It's kind of funny really, because Molly O'Sullivan didn't appear in the Traitor, yet I felt in the Traitor quite a few things happened. In Time's Orizon we have Molly O'Sullivan travel with the Doctor again. She's back in the TARDIS. They travel to the far future, and would you believe it, they go to the end of the universe again, because like that's never happened in Doctor Who. But anyway, Livchenka is reunited with the Eighth Doctor. It is then later explained about his decision at the end of the Traitor. I shall not say what that decision is. It's that big cliffhanger at the end of the Traitor, which I highly suggest you pick up this box set for, just purely to listen to that bit. But Livchenka, she's introduced to Molly O'Sullivan. I think that their interaction together is very good. I think Ruth Bradley and Nicola Walker, they work very well together. We've got these zombie creatures, and they possess parts of the crew. And the main villain for this is known as the Eminence. This is another Big Finish original villain. We get a little cameo by the Dalek Time Controller in this as well. So, like I say, it kind of follows on from the Traitor, because the White Room, like, nothing at all was mentioned about what happens in the Traitor. In this, though, we've got the Eminence, and wow, when I listened to this for the first time, I really, hand on heart, thought that the Eminence was an absolutely brilliant invention. I think they are an absolutely brilliant villain. This mummy creature on the front cover, it kind of reminds me of the Foretold creature from Series A as well. Kind of weird, but yeah, the Eminence, these are they're absolutely brilliant monsters, and I just want to see them more and more in Big Finish. I think they're an absolutely amazing concept, and I'd really like to see them in the actual TV show as well, because we've already had them on audio. Last one in this set is Eyes of the Master by Matt Fitton. On the front cover we have this bold man who turns out to be the Master. And we have Dr. Sally Armstrong. Now, Dr. Sally Armstrong made a last appearance in this saga in the story Fugitives, when she gets killed by a Dalek. But seeing as the whole timelines and all that gobbledygook was rewritten at the end of Dark Eyes 1, she now lives, and this is sort of like an alternate reality in a way. But here you can see you got all these eyes, as alluded by the title. We have the Doctor, we have Molly O'Sullivan, we have this guy here, we have a car,
we have a bus, we have a red telephone box as well. We have this little thing here, it just tells us it contains bonus behind the scenes CD, so it's just like Dark Eyes 1, the last release in the set. It has 2 discs, one featuring the actual story along with incidental music, and the other disc, behind the scenes stuff. Like I said, this features Alex McQueen, also features Natalie Burt and Frank Skinner, who appeared in Mummy on the Orient Express, which is actually a story which I've already mentioned, because that mummy thing in Times of Horizon on the front cover kind of reminded me of The Foretold, so kind of a connection. I think it's just coincidental here. It looks like they're in the surgery, which is like one of the main settings of the story. If you just have a look here, that's disc 1, and then you just pull this out like so. Here's behind the scenes documentary, and we have an advertisement for some monthly releases. And here is the concept art. So we have Molly O'Sullivan, we have Dr. Sally Armstrong on the right, and in the middle we have the 8th Doctor and the Master split right down in the middle. I think it's an absolutely brilliant one, certainly much better than Times of Horizon's concept art. Right, I'm just going to flat out say that Eyes of the Master is easily the best one out of this box set. It's the best out of the bunch, hands down. Alex McQueen is introduced to the series for the first time. He was briefly introduced at the end of the previous story as a sort of cliffhanger of things that are yet to come. And wow. Now, I heard great things about Alex McQueen as the Master before I actually got this set by watching TJ Productions reviews, because in his reviews he said that Alex McQueen was a very good Master, and just listening to this story on its own, bearing in mind that he also appears in Dark Eyes 3 and 4, he just nails the role. He is the Master. No question, he is the Master. He plays an absolutely cunning part. He's just brilliant. He reminds me a lot of Roger Delgado, and just listening to this one on its own, I'm going to piss off a lot of the fandom right now, but I'm going to say that this Master is far, far better than Missy. Because, personally, Missy is not a character that I like, and I just can't accept that she's the Master. Nothing against the actress. I think Michelle Gomez is an absolutely brilliant actress, but she's not the Master. Here, Alex McQueen, he just totally owns this. In fact, he steals the show in this whole audio. He's the best thing about this story. It's just amazing. Every line of dialogue he has, and the way he delivers it, it's just superb. I think that his performance as the Master is one of the best performances I've ever heard, and he's actually one of my favourites now, and that's just listening to this one on its own. And Dark Eyes 3 and 4, he gets up to a whole lot more stuff, so it's the beginning of very great things here. His scenes with the 8th Doctor are just worth listening to. They're easily probably the best scenes out of the whole thing. But I think the whole story as a whole is great. They go back to the 70s. Livchenko gets a taste of what 20th century Earth is like, whereas Molly O'Sullivan, she already knows about it because she previously travelled there in Fugitives from Dark Eyes 1. I really like the dynamic, again, between Livchenko and Molly O'Sullivan, particularly due to the fact that they're from two completely different time zones. We have Livchenko from the far future, we have Molly O'Sullivan from early 20th century. I think it works very well. They did a similar thing in the Second Doctor era with Jamie McCrimmon and Zoe Herriot as well. I really like that they do that. I wish that they did this more in the modern series, but the modern series just seem to keep getting present day companions from Earth as well. It's just really boring. They could really do with something different. But yeah, this is reason why you should get Dark Eyes 2. It's ratings time. I'm going to now rate every story individually, and then I'm going to rate the whole box set and tell you if it is worth buying, but I've already told you it is anyway, so there's no point of this. But I'll tell you the scores anyway. For the Traitor, I'm going to give that an 8 out of 10. It's a good start to the box set, not as good as the Great War for the first box set, but it got me hooked. It did its job. I think the White Room was the weakest out of the box set, so I'm going to give that a 7, because it's still a good story, but I just felt it was the weakest, because I had to really concentrate and pay attention to everything that was going on in the story, because it was kind of wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. Timed Horizon is a great story. I think this is where it picks up again. Not that there was anything wrong with the previous two stories. That story I rate a 9 out of 10. I think the Eminence are an absolutely brilliant foe. I think they're just brilliant. They need to use them more. They really do. And the final story, The Eyes of the Master, I'm going to rate a 10 out of 10. And I think it's an absolutely amazing finale to this box set. Absolutely brilliant. The best thing about it is easily Alex McQueen's Master. And plus, we have a nice cliffhanger at the end, which leads us very nicely into Dark Eyes 3. Hopefully the review for Dark Eyes 3 won't take another year to do. Hopefully it'll just be within a few weeks, if all is well. That is my review for Dark Eyes 2. Before I go, I'm going to give you the score for Dark Eyes 2. We're going to add up all the scores, and according to my calculations, it is 34 out of 40. And that gives us the average score for this box set as an 8.5. But I'm going to round that up and give it a 9. So this is a 9 out of 10 box set. I think it's a very good box set. If you enjoyed the first Dark Eyes box sets, then I highly recommend that you get it. I don't think that it is as good as Dark Eyes 1, I will say that right now, but it certainly is a good sequel to it. I think it's a good way to follow on from Dark Eyes 1, because it was always going to be hard to follow on from that, because that was an almost flawless box set. This is a very good box set, not as good, but it's a good way to follow on, and I think that if you enjoyed the first one, you'll definitely enjoy this, so definitely worth checking out. Thank you very much for watching this review. I shall not keep you any further. You can get on with your daily lives now, and before you do that though, make sure you subscribe to my channel, The Obsessed Duvian 95, for more Doctor Who content. Hope you're all having a great day. Enjoy it while you can. Embrace everything. Have a good one. See you next time.